expected result because the mana base was pretty sketchy. I think I'm willing to keep this on the draw, because both the forest and the swamp already make this hand pretty great. And even if I miss like once, this can be a great catch-up mechanic. Come on, forest. Yeah, there we go. Easy peasy. Yeah, casting it unkicked is not the end of the world, but obviously would prefer to not do that. Can give it flying right away, which holds off 2 damage this turn. But I lose out on the arcane flight in the long run. Do want a second swamp here. Then I can start flying over as well. I think it feels alright to do that. Like 2 damage being prevented this turn, and then I have a real threat on the board next turn, so that I can like Mammoth Spider on defense and start flying over for 2 every turn. Seems okay. They're willing to attack in. What does that mean? They could bounce my Arcane Flight and then eat up my guy. Let's see, instants in blue or green out of Dominaria. Still have to figure these types of spots out if they're representing something, and I have no idea what that could be. What? Oh, this is blue and green. That's not what I wanted, blue or green. So, fight spell doesn't matter here. Put a +1/+1 counter on target creature against reach. They could have that. That would make sense. Arbor, Armament. A blink of an eye would make sense because they bounce my Arcane Flight. Gift of Growth is just a +2/+2. Don't really mind that. Spore Swarm, nope. Syncopate, nope. Unwind, nope. Opt, Pierce the Sky, Rescue, and Befuddle are all irrelevant. Put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. Kind of the same thing. Okay, so they have 2 spells in the format that could put a +1/+1 counter on either both of their creatures or just this one, and they can bounce the Arcane Flight. I think I'm willing to take it. That's interesting. So most likely they can put a +1/+1 counter on their creature, but my Mammoth Spider can block profitably next turn, so. And I don't feel like I'm under too much pressure. So if they bounce my spider, excuse me, if they bounce my spider, I should still be alright. Like they only get 3 damage through or 2 damage through, no, 3. Like if it is blink of an eye or like the ult into the royal basically, they can bounce this and draw a card, but they're not getting a ton of damage in that way. Okay, so it seems like it's one of the +1/+1 counter type cards. They can theoretically have 2 mana, give +2/+2 to your creature with kicker, +4/+4. If they make the attack here again, that means they have the kicker card, and then I would likely just take the damage and next turn have Vicious Offering open. Now it's pretty much confirmed that they have a +1/+1 counter on there. Elfheim Druid, it taps for a green, and if you use it for kicked spells, you can tap it for double green. Elf name, no, the name is Elfheim with an H. Okay, yeah, I think I figured it out. Most likely they have armament, whatever it's called. Arbor armament. Though it's also possible they do have the wild onslaught instead. Can block here, they use it by -2/-2 their creature. Is that alright with me? Get the trick out of their hand. And I prevent 1 damage, but I have to spew off my Vicious Offering. I guess if they play a bigger creature I can steal it anyway, so I'm not as interested in the offering. Okay, and if I just prevent 1 damage, that's also alright with me. Deep Freeze. Okay, so it's an 0/4 defender. No abilities. That seems pretty bad for my opponent. I mean, obviously it's better for them than if I have a 3/5, but they can't really attack through the 0/4 either. This is timestamp, right? If I give it flying and they give it loses all abilities, I think it's the same layer, then it's like timestamp order, so they could have taken flying from this. Yeah, it is Lignify basically, except it has defender as well. Oh wait, does it also have defender? Yeah. Oh, of it being legendary. There's a lot of legendary meta stuff in this set. Lose all abilities. Is it for combo? Wait, which combo do you mean? Oh, this one. Yeah, there's a lot of like legendary matters in the format. Like your creature gets stronger when you control a legendary. There's legendary sorceries which you can only cast if you control a legendary. Like there's stuff that triggers if you cast a legendary card. It's part of the theme of the set. This one matters less often because it, like, a lot of the effects are like if it's in your graveyard or when you're casting it from your hand you get an effect. So turning the permanent that you steal into legendary is not always an upside. 2 Llanowar Elves, okay, so a lot of ramping going on there, though they haven't cast a single card worth ramping into yet. So I think I'll just let them keep all that. And if they use all of this to cast like a 10/10 Grun or something, I'll just steal that. What seems expensive? This? No, this is great. Or do you mean the Deep Freeze? I'm not certain. Yeah, the Deep Freeze is pretty expensive and not that great. If you're short on removal spells, you have to run it sometimes, but my opponent doesn't even have great capabilities of attacking into it. Okay, so maybe they do have the Wild Onslaught, so that they can pay 8 mana now to kick Wild Onslaught, and then they get a +2/+2 counters on all of their board. So if I block here, they would grow this into a 4/4. I can still Vicious Offering it down in response. Feels like I want to force them into doing it, but it's still pretty bad for me that their entire board grows. Oh, 6, but you're taking away your opponent's best card and like you, okay, so we did correctly read what my opponent was trying to do. Like your opponent loses their best card and you get their best card. So it's already a 2-for-1 and it means you're pretty much always ahead on the board. It's pretty great. Yeah, it's like one of the strongest cards in the set for blue. And definitely the strongest uncommon in the set. For blue at the very least, and maybe even the best uncommon in the set overall. No, this is not make a permanent legendary. You first steal their thing and then afterwards it becomes legendary. No. That would be a lot worse, obviously. The effect that you thought would have to cost 1 and would still be pretty bad. This card is just insane. It steals your opponent's thing and then it turns it into a legendary. Yeah, no problem. I already -2/-2 at 2/3 today, so reading cards when pre-release time is around is pretty, I mean, you need to read all the cards and you have some misconceptions about them. That's why we play pre-releases, right? We learn. We live and we learn. Taking 6 damage here. I think I actually need to candle one of these down. Still not that afraid of my opponent having a bigger creature, because I still steal whatever bigger creature they play. But I'm not doing that well in the race at the moment. I'm still doing alright, taking 3 damage return while I'm dealing 2. Yeah, that seems worth stealing. That definitely seems worth stealing. Give me that. Give me that. It's even legendary, so I can grow it with the fight spell. Don't think I need to fight yet. Yeah, definitely. There's Stream Decker. If you click on the Stream Decker down there, you can look at my deck list and then hover over the cards. But like the cards that my opponents are playing and all that. Maybe I need to set up like a stream overlay that there is this preview window, but it's pretty clunky on Magic Online. Where's preview? And like this one. But like it's not that great integrating it on the stream. And also, like, if I just play the game normally, it keeps switching around from, like, you don't necessarily get to see the card that you really want to see. If I have this open, like, I hover over this forest and you have a forest there, it's not always that useful. Would be great for that Hearthstone plugin to exist, where, like, the viewer can check out which cards they want to see and which they don't. Okay, that one seems worth fighting down. There we go. So, like the way that my deck was set up, I think I'm interested in boarding one of these in now that I've already seen the swings from them, and they might have more flyers. Can you do this on your opponent's creatures? I guess you can. This is kind of a cute combo. Obviously not where you want to be, giving your, like, you're 2 for 1ing yourself with this. But if you're in a very bad position, you can give your opponent's creature flying, then pierce this guy down. It's just like a backup plan that you can keep in mind. Pretty sad about the Sylvan Awakening underperforming at the moment, but I think I'm cutting it again. Might want a Primordial Worm of my own to keep up with my opponents. Sopronian Migration also seems not that great. Though this is a pretty greedy way of setting up your curve. Is there something better I can do? Nope. Yeah, against blue-green medium beats. I think I can do this. Hope it doesn't backfire on me. Let's try it. I think I'll keep one of the Arcane Flights in my deck. Maybe I should have the Tolarian Drake again. That would also offer me some late game while also being good on curve. Yeah, I agree. Magic is the best game for sure, but it's not the best streaming game. Not the best viewing experience. It's pretty mediocre. It does have Eviscerate, but I don't like the rest of my hand all that much. And I'm mana screwed. I think I'll mulligan actually, but yeah. Okay, this hand is already super flooded, but do have some great top decks to draw into. A lot of ways in my deck to utilize a ton of mana, so. Got rid of the Arcane Flight. I thought it was too low impact in this spot. Could theoretically make myself a 2-3 flying again, but I wanted to draw some cards that have more substance. Yeah, like this one for example. So I think that works out most of the time. If I draw too many more lands, then it can be awkward. that I bottomed a spell. But I think it's more important to draw high impact spells than it is to just have any spell here. Okay, so they're doing similar things to me. Ramping it up. And I even drew my swamp, so now I can get the island. Still super flooded, but this run on turn 5 or something should be pretty strong. Or a turn... that's pretty annoying. God damn it. Yeah, that's going to be difficult to beat if it sticks around on the board. Can squeeze in 1 damage here by attacking. Sure. They can block, of course, but I think it's mostly 3 damage because they already saw a Vicious Offering from me, or 2 Vicious Offerings, I think. So they know that the block is pretty bad. Not the greatest risk reward though. Just need to hope they miss some land drops. Then this card's not nearly as scary. Yeah, for sure. Okay, I think I need to get this Grun down. Now I would want my Arcane Flight. Because Arcane Flight Grun was one of the combos of my deck. Haven't pulled that off once yet, but obviously oh no, the Arcane Flight is no longer on the bottom of my library because I scryed it to the bottom and then shuffled afterwards with Skittering Surveyor, so I could still draw that and hit my opponent for 12. Otherwise, this Grun is going to run into my opponent's like supporting tokens for a while. Okay, never mind. It's just going to be deeply frozen. My opponent's still missing land drops, so that makes the what is it? Tatyova? Benthic Druid? Tatyova? Whatever. Makes this Merfolk chick a lot more bearable. Yeah, both of us need to miss land. Well, I'm not missing my land drops regardless of what I draw. That's spicy. Though I did sequence my lands in a way where it's a lot less spicy than it would have otherwise been. I think I'd still need to do this, but if I had played my island earlier, then I could have tapped this for it and then had a land drop afterwards. It's still an amazing top deck. I just missed out on value by not having double blue on the board already. Yeah, I guess it loses all abilities. I was checking how double its power and toughness, so it would become an 0-8. No. Kicked, fight another target. No. Damn it. Well, I guess I can get this back and then recast it. That should also be pretty great for me. Sure, let's do that. That seems fair, right? Just get my mind control back from the graveyard. Steal their 5/5. Man, that would have been a lot better if I had sequenced this better. Oh god, no. No. They have their +2/+2 for all of my creatures as well. For all of their creatures, of course. That's going to be very annoying. I think I just need to like chump block here. And then next turn I steal this. They might still need to do it just because it costs 8 mana, so even if it only deals 2 damage to me here and doesn't really change the way that combat plays out. Well, the downside is that I get to steal a 7/7 now. Which is pretty fair, right? And now we're just looking to draw more Drotha. And then GG no re. Or I guess my whatever the vampire chick that makes zombies is called. Guess it's not even a vampire. 4/4 and 2. So this is like the obvious block, and then I don't have a great block here. Regardless, I can jump block here, just take 4. Taking 4 seems alright. Wait, they kept this back, so they have another 8 drop or something? Because it could have easily attacked as well. Yeah, I think I'll take it. If they give +2/+2 to their board again, it's a little awkward, but don't have a great way of playing around that regardless, so sure. They do have an 8 drop. 7/7. So, well, at least they gave me a 7/7 to trade for theirs. Ah, that's a pretty awful top deck. So block here, block there, jump block there. I think I'm forced to use this. Wow. Wait. Artifact legendary. Oh, none. What the hell? Oh, this is way better than I thought. Holy shit. I thought it only cast historic cards after exiling them from the... But it only exiles historic cards, but if you exile them from the top of your library, you can even cast normal creatures that are not historic. That's way better than what I thought. Holy moly. Okay, so this card doesn't hit like 20% of the time, it actually hits like 60% of the time. That's a huge difference. What did I put in the graveyard? Okay, a bunch of rando stuff. Wow, that's great for me here. I mean, the board is still kind of scary if my opponent has a trick to make the 7/7 on 7/7 block not work for me, but yeah, that makes it a lot better. Got some life cushion here, another profitable blocker. Hopefully my opponent draws like a flying creature. That's a scary attack though. Okay, okay, that makes a lot more sense. I don't think there's any trick that I would have to double block for. If they can have the +2/+2 in hand, then they can already pay kicker for it and just get +4/+4. Still have the blue-green instance page open. So Wild Onslaught number 2 gives +2/+2 to their entire board. They would have just attacked with everything, I think. +1/+1 counter on your creature. I guess that makes a difference. What's the downside of double blocking? They can bounce. Well, if they bounce this, I'm already pretty screwed. Because they can also recast it from their own hand. I don't think I can really win in that spot. Gift of Growth wrecks me if I double block. Gives +4/+4. But I play around them putting a +1/+1 counter on it. Or 2 +1/+1 counters on it. I think it's just a little bit better to double block. Because the bounce spell is already going to wreck me. So there's not really a point in playing around it. Oh, they do have the second onslaught and they just wanted me to not make this block. Okay, that worked out pretty nicely for me, but I'm still in a very scary position on the board. Really need my Muldrotha or something to show up. Or the... Yes! Yes! Wait, what can I even do with this? It should still be the play. Because then next turn I can cast my Mind Control from the graveyard again. Can cast Windgrace, Acolyte or something. Or Skittering Surveyor. That is so sick. So, but their board is huge. I have like one profitable block here. They're out of cards though. And then like jump block here so I can recast this next turn. So I kind of want another jump block. It's possible that Skittering Surveyor is actually better for me here than Windgrace Acolyte. Though Windgrace Acolyte, if I mill a land, I can play a land. Wait, did I just play a land? Yes. Yeah, I can. Oh no, I played my forest, so I can't play a land from my graveyard. Regardless, but also from my hand if I search one up. Yeah, I guess this offers some good double blocks as well if I give up on my Rona. Sure. And we get Swamp for next turn. And the Yozuves. Okay, yes! Broken, legendary, rares and mythics chaining into each other. Feels good, man. This deck's amazing. Just Muldrotha, self-mill, cast Yozuves with kicker. Fair and balanced. Fair and balanced. Okay, I think I'll just jump block here. I can steal it next turn or just like block it down with the zombie tokens, whatever. This feels good. The only downside of this is that it's unlikely for me to ever have a deck this sweet again in the format. It's a pretty difficult act to follow. So having this as my very first deck puts a lot of pressure on the rest of the format to perform. Can Pierce the Sky this and then cast in Bolas Clutches, but I could also just do this. How much mana do I have available? 9, 10, 11. And this is 2 if I cast the Ves. What is it? Josu Ves. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So that works. Okay. So let's do that. Choosing to not cast my Mind Control from the graveyard because I have better things to do. Just the usual. Free Mind Control from graveyard, not good enough. I can probably even start attacking. I don't think there's much. Yes! Okay, so lost to my own mana base once, which was to be expected. And other than that, deck felt amazing. I think this was much better than the black-white deck, actually. And this Proling mutation was kind of mediocre. The Arcane Flight never really came up in spots where it was. It won one game almost single-handedly, and then other than that, it didn't really do much. I never cast a single. Well, I cast one of them when I was already dead on board, basically, but I never cast a good or a bad Sylvan Awakening, really. Just boarded it out a bunch. I still feel like this card has potential if you're like on a lot of mana, then you can win out of nowhere, but it's probably better in like a aggressive like red-green deck as a finisher. Kind of didn't fit my deck because I already had such an amazing late game that I didn't need it. So I think I would prefer to start off with a main deck that was something like Telet Omnivore as another uncurved blocker / attacker, and then yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe the Corrosive Ooze actually, because a lot of my opponents played their equipments, and it might be better than this. Who knows? But I was pretty happy with how I built the deck actually, and probably just like 2 or 3 cards off of what would have been optimal. And this recursive late game Ton of Legends engine was just insanely good and actually super sweet to play with. Pretty much always had better late game than any of my opponents could have. Okay, I'll fire off another league. But that was a very nice first league to start into the format with, and showed what sweet dirtly stuff is possible here. Sadly